Okay, we've got everything hooked back up in our control box, junction box on the side of the motor. We've got the rectifier hooked back up. We've got the fuse back in place. We've got our connections here so we can test it if we need to. And what I want to show you now is the actual adjustment and some of the gap that you're going to come across and the adjustment you're going to have to make with it. So you'll hear some noise as we power the motor up. And what we've done in this case, we've got everything hooked up. The motor is actually not hooked up to the machine, but what we're going to do, we know where the two power wires are and where they come in from our harness. Here's our harness here, and you've got some different colored wires than what you're going to have here in the States. This one, the green's always going to be the ground. In this case, the brown and the blue are the hot and the neutral, and the black is not used. And if we go in here, we can see that, remember I told you about these bus bars running across here. You're pretty much going to have one of your power legs on each one of these going to your motor. And we see up here the black motor wires going here, and we don't have anything else going there that's hooked to anything. There's some internal wiring, but nothing really going to the motor that's going to power it. So we trace the wires going back to the motor terminal cable, this one here. Green is ground, and we see that the brown is going in right here on this bar, and we see that the blue is going in right here on this bar. So we know that the blue and the brown is the power. We can take a jumper and put here and here, or we can just do what we've done, and I hate to show it to you because it's not up to code by any speak, but we're just running a jumper wire to these two motor wires here. Make sure they're insulated with these rubber boots so they can't touch. And the thing to do would be to take some wire nuts and cap over these items right here. That way you can't get shocked. And there, that just makes me feel a little bit better. Alright, so let's look at the adjustment again. Now what we want to look for here, you're going to have just a very fine gap here. Just watch it move just a little bit. Now we've started with it tightened, I believe, all the way, and I'm going to back off just a hair. Okay, Colin, give power. Okay, off. Okay, I don't know if you can hear it or not, the motor hummed. Didn't do anything. Reason why, brake's too tight. So we're going to just back off a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to rotate. Again, if the fan was one that you had some issues with it being stuck, you'd want to rotate this to try to free it. If you didn't already pull this off and sand down the shaft like we talked about in the previous video. We're going to assume that the shaft's okay though, and we're just doing the final adjustment here. So we've backed off another 1/8 of a turn. I always do it in 1/8 of a turn increments. That way you don't do too much. And as I see it, I don't really see a gap here, but go ahead, Colin, turn it on. Okay, I don't know if you can see this gap or not move. Go ahead. Okay, you can kind of see the plate shift side to side a little bit. It's going to do that with the friction, but I don't think we're really getting a little bit of gap. And you hear a little bit of noise there, and that's fairly common. Sometimes they'll make noise, sometimes they won't. Okay, go ahead. Okay, I can just see the gap close up here again. Okay, but we'll back off just a little bit more. There we go. Now I can actually physically see a paper gap here. Alright, go ahead, Colin. And you can actually see and hear it clamping and moving. You hear that loud click? Go ahead. You can actually see it right there. Just ever so slightly. And that's what we're looking for. That's all it needs to do. If it's got a gap like that, you see that? That's wait, and yeah, this is spinning free, and yeah, you can probably get it to work if you turn it on. But see, this doesn't draw close. It puts pressure on this. It wears this out, causes this to heat up because it's rubbing, and just causes a host of other problems. So just because it's running don't mean it's right. So let's go ahead and go back to that initial adjustment. I'm just going to snug it all the way back up. And back off 1/4 of a turn to start with. And then adjust till I see my gap like I like it. Take another 1/8. There we go. Now, go ahead, Colin. And we'll test a little bit back. See, seems to be working. So that's what we want to do. That's how to make that correct adjustment there, and then we'll work on getting everything fitted back inside of this box. And best way to usually do that is these are the motor sideways. You see that fits kind of nice in there, and then the fuse fits kind of nice just here to the side of it. And then you'll have to pack the wires in best you can, or trim them best you can. What we may want to do with these is we will actually tuck them behind this rectifier and then put it on the outside, since it's kind of loose, kind of just helps hold all that in together. We just want to make sure we don't have any bare wire connections touching anywhere in here before we start putting all that together. But that's the basic adjustment on what you need to do there. So if you got any questions, just give us a call in the office and we'll be glad to try to walk you through anything.